This episode was so scary, it turned my hair white. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Welcome back to my Doctor Who reviews, and today we're talking about the episode Arachnids in the UK. Or, fun fact here, as it was listed in Finnish television listings, Are You Afraid of Spiders? Fortunately for me, I'm not. So despite my opening gag there, I wasn't really bothered by this episode in terms of being frightened by it. But I did rather enjoy it. So I'm going to talk about the things that I liked in this episode, and I'm going to talk about some things which didn't really work for me. And let me first get out of the way the go-to points. What did I think of the look of the episode? What did I think of the Doctor? And how were the companions for me this time? Let's rattle through those. Firstly, the look of the show looked great. I thought the spider effects were generally pretty impressive. There were a couple of moments where they were a little bit ropey, a little bit didn't quite land. But on the whole, I thought they were pretty darn good. And the bit which particularly I enjoyed, there was a segment towards the end when they are sort of climbing up and over a table, where the sort of thinness of the legs and the way they kind of move. That was probably the closest it got to creepy for me. And very effective it was too. Jodie's performance this time, she was given a little bit more opportunity to play it a little bit calmer, and I think that was only to the good. I'm loving Jodie's performance generally so far, but she has been just a little bit manic, a little bit over the top in a couple of these episodes. And her rambling while talking to Yaz's father and sister was funny and not quite so manic and off the hinge, basically. Speaking of Yaz, finally we get an episode concentrating on her and giving her a little bit more to work with. And again, I enjoyed what I saw. I thought the family dynamic was quite entertaining, not quite as manic as Rose's mum, for example, or as fractious as Martha's. We do still get a bit of family, really, a bit of to and fro, a bit of disappointment, and yet respect, I think, is in there. So, generally speaking, I liked it. It's not remarkable, but she doesn't have to be. Not so much with Ryan this time, but again, Graham continues to impress. I don't want to keep saying this, but at the same time, it remains true. I thought the scenes where he went back to his house and saw memories or projected his memories of Grace onto the scene really tugged at the heartstrings. I really appreciate what they're doing with that character, giving him a reason to go back to the TARDIS. Probably the best reason of the three of them, actually. The guest cast, for the most part, took good roles. I believed Yaz's family. I believe their dynamic. They were amusing and entertaining and grounding, and they did their job fine. The disposable hench people associated with Robertson, is their name? The sort of political guy. I mean, they were there and gone for the most part. Roberts himself was probably my least favourite aspect of the show. There was no need to make him so on the nose a Trump analogue. I know he's running against Trump, but everything they said about him, hotel tycoon, turned politician, likes firing people, all of that very, very much on the nose. And I really didn't think it needed it. So generally speaking, quite positive about this episode, right up until the resolution. I think that's where the problem for this episode lay for me. Essentially, we get a lot of build-up, a lot of good tension, a good mystery about where these spiders are coming from, what they're doing, but the solution to play some music to pull the most of them into the panic room and then confront the queen spider in the ballroom, I'm not convinced that the music would have been as attractive to the spiders as all that. It wasn't attracting me anyway. They played it long enough to reach out, because the spiders are not just in the hotel. We've seen they're out in the whole of Sheffield, the UK. The whole of Sheffield have got these spiders in this episode, and they didn't play that music for long enough to bring them all in there. There will be these mutant spiders out there. At the end of the day, again, the message about the guns, it's very Doctor Who. It kind of works, except that they killed all the spiders anyway. The reason they lured them into the panic room was to shut them in there until they all died off, as far as I can tell. The strangest thing really for me about the way this episode is structured is they said to us this season of Doctor Who the episodes were going to be longer, to give us more time for the story, to get only just a few minutes longer, but just a little bit more time for the story to breathe. And they use that extra time, this episode, with building up some character stuff and building up some tension, and all of that is good. But if you throw it away on the ending, it's all a bit wasted. So for me, this episode, for all that, I think it may be my favourite of the season so far. Certainly the one I have the least problems with. So I'd probably give it like an 8. I'm back to numbers again. Hey. So I'd probably give it about an 8. But that last act really does bring it down for me. Really does drop it a couple of points. Would have been higher if we'd managed to stick the landing. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, share. That is what YouTubers say. And hey, I'm a YouTuber now, so you know. Join me again on Friday. My follow-up Friday this time. I'm going to do something a little bit different, a little bit silly. And I'm going to do my 5 favourite enlarged animals in Doctor Who. It won't be very serious. But if that sounds interesting to you, join me on Friday for the Enlarged Animals Follow-Up Friday. If you would like to subscribe, please do so. If you want to check out more about my Doctor Who fixation, there's a link thingy here. And if you're more interested in my writing, there's a box you can click over there for some stuff over that too. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you later. Cheers.